You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
Hello! We're live! Yay! Well, I think we're live. Are we live? Is this on? Can you guys hear me?
You're bad at this.
No, I know it's on. I just wanted you all to talk.
Did you ping it?
Yes, I pinged it. But if you want to ping it to all, I mean, sure, you can go and do whatever you got to do.
Powerful.
But yeah, Matani's not here today. For those watching the show, he is not here. He is busy getting drunk in where the fuck is he now? Minnesota? Or is he in Wisconsin? He's at the Summer Storm meet. He's at one of the Summer Storm places. They're getting drunk, having fun. So we have Asher, Aerith, and Anominate here. Our wonderful CSM is back. We're trying to get them on a weekly basis, so that's pretty cool. And I'm glad they're here. We're gonna have a lot of things to talk about. But Asher, hey, welcome. I don't think I've been on here with the same time you've been on here.
No, we have, dude. I've been on this show so much.
I know.
But it's been a while. It's been a while for sure.
Yep. We tried to have you on last week, but you had stuff to do because we're gonna talk about the Alliance tournament, and we'll actually make some jokes about that in a little bit. And then we have Anominate and Aerith, our wonderful Goon CSM members, and of course Aerith, our wonderful manipulator of markets. Hello, dudes. How's it going?
Very well.
You sound so excited. I thought you'd be more excited with your shopping that you're doing. I think you're getting the new mask for the trip. So
dude, I don't like actually going. Like, I don't like going to Iceland. Like, anyone that thinks going to Iceland's a glamorous thing or a fun thing, it's not.
Oh, that's shocking. See,
yeah, it's spending all day in a conference room, then having to buy your own overpriced, crappy food, and then you go home.
Oh, that's right. CCP they don't pay for your food, do they?
Well, you can eat there. Like, they'll let you eat their cafeteria, but they all talk about how their cafeteria is really good. And I'm sorry, CCP, I know I'm bagging on you a little bit. But the cafeteria sucks if you're actually a foodie.
But it's like all rotten shark.
It's just kind of low-end cafeteria food. If you're familiar with corporate America, in the United States,
nuggets.
Yeah, it's random food. I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just if you're wanting to enjoy a meal, that's not what you're eating.
If you've been eating at the Google lunchroom, you're gonna not appreciate it.
In any moderately good corporate cafeteria, you're probably gonna be like, eh.
That's funny. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot being a lot of depth, but very little things. We're gonna talk about the CSM. They have a wonderful summit coming up soon, so we're gonna talk to them about that. We have a patch that just came out. We're coming out August 15th. That's got some really cool minor changes that not a lot of people might have noticed. We're going to talk about the AT results from today and what's going to happen tomorrow. There's a war in the North, South, and a war in Syndicate. We're going to talk about all those things. And yeah, we're going to jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to jump into is thanking all our lovely subscribers. We have 4 subscribers. Schwalboy just subscribed for his 34th month. Holy fuck. I think that's the longest active subscription we have at TMC. Anominate hit 25 months. Every time you're on the show, Anominate, you hit that button. It's like, do you just resubscribe with 3 or 4 Anominates to do this?
No, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah. Accessible Gamer, 1.5 years, 18 months. Thank you, sir. And then Iced Slayer, 3 months in a row. Thank you. And Joe Man, 74 months. So cool. We're going into our top story today. And our top story today is, of course, the focus on the CSM, as the CSM Summit is coming very, very soon. Actually, is it next week or the week after? Right after the Alliance tournament, right?
Yeah, it's next week. So we fly out next weekend, and we'll be there the weekend.
Okay, yeah. So, oh wow, so you'll be there at the end of the Alliance tournament then, with all the commentators and stuff, right?
I guess I don't know exactly all the tourney dates. I don't pay that.
Yeah,
much.
they're the 17th, 18th, 19th, whatever, something like that. So
Elite PvP is not my thing.
yeah, so yeah, that summit's happening. What is going to be the focus of the summit, you think, for this go around?
I expect Citadels to have quite a significant amount of talk around them, like what their capabilities are, what they should be, are they balanced, is effectively making something that's worse than SBUs good for the game. I think what we're going to do here in the next 30 days is probably going to help formulate some of those discussions.
Ooh. What do you mean by SBUs and Citadels? Explain this one. I'm interested in hearing this.
Well, the meta, like what people need to understand about the meta now is you effectively made a system where you can convert ISK into suffering very efficiently against your enemies.
Yep.
So you're seeing us deploy massive amounts of Citadels in the north, and we don't care what happens to them. If they generate fights, obviously we like that because we want fights, and it gives us opportunities to hit a Titan or a super carrier, with a warp off or with a bad jump and a bump, just something of that nature. It's presenting opportunities. Right. But at the end of the day, you're generating shitloads of timers if they don't kill them on the first when they come out, which they can't because there's too many that are being anchored. So they're going to be grinding these little bastards potentially for months if they don't stop it now. And we're going to keep deploying, we can deploy hundreds more.
Oh, the Astro Houses, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Astro Houses and forts. Like it's just ISK into here you go. Here's some timers, bitches. Like
and Rataras are even worse, aren't they? Like Rataras are like what 600, 500 mil each.
They're cheaper, but Astros are probably better for the purposes of what Aaron's talking about.
Yeah, we've kind of done the analysis, and it kind of the best bang for your buck is Astrohuses, if you want to do this.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. If they do come online and they have to shoot these things. I know we had a huge fight in terms of low sec. 2,400 people were there. The last Fortizar timer, and we had an entire Horde Hurricane fleet running around trying to kill these. And at one point, I had a guy in that fleet. They landed on one of our Astro Houses with 2 seconds to go. Didn't even get it locked in time, and it went online. Like, we online like 10 of these things. It is Roach Motels, as chat calls it. Yes. Was this your idea?
Yes,
Eric?
it was. So I had come up with Roach Motels. Actually, Roach Motels was something when the original Citadels were released, when we saw them coming and we knew what they were going to be like. It was one of my worst fears for deck, because the way deck was geographically, it would have been really bad there. So I actually knew that this was coming in a defensive way. And then it was obvious, like, oh, well, we can use this offensively against our enemies because as long as you're the one with the most ISK, this is very efficient to do. And as long as you have the ability to online some of them, it's efficient to do. And so we had expected to online about 20% of them. So for every 10, we expected to online 2. And we're getting 5, 6, 7.
Right.
And that's just the first waves. We expect more to online as this becomes even worse.
So, Asher, I thought about this a couple nights ago when I was thinking about how powerful Astro Houses are in terms of combating in 0-0. They take and eliminate POS on such an unbelievable level. POS used to be the thing, like you drop a POS in a system, you go hide inside it. But with Tether and an Astro House and subcaps, you can't get bumped out of a POS. You can't get, or like you can get bumped out of a POS. You can't get bumped out of an Astro House if you're paying attention because the tether is just amazing. If your POS mysteriously, gets shot at, it's going to be dead the next day, at the most 1 day, 17 hours. But Astro House is what they survive with a week. So what do you think of this in terms of, like, if we put one in every single system in Tribute, how useful is that for what you're doing?
A much bigger force multiplier than POSes, which is what I think you were getting at.
Right.
So say the web is webbing your ships on a POS, right? And by the way, the interface on POS mods is awful, but it's much better on Astros. But say that you're being webbed by a POS, you just shoot the web module and it stops doing it. But in an Astro House, you cannot do that. So if they're fit properly, there's going to be multiple ships in your fleet scrammed and webbed for the entire fight. So it just that and the void bombs, which they buffed. They said they were nerfing them, but they buffed them.
We're going to talk about that here in just a second.
Yeah,
actually.
Okay. It's made them so much more powerful than a POS ever was. And they cost, the hull is maybe a little more than a fit POS was, but for bang for your buck, you're getting so much more, and you're getting 3 timers out of it over a week.
Yeah,
you have so much momentum on that 3rd timer too.
It's absolutely amazing. So now I'm going to turn this question to you as part of the CSM because I like when you talk about these things because you tend to get a little in depth. The question I have here is one of the biggest pushes, and I think this came from Sword Dragon right before Citadels came out, is what is CCP going to do about these being, with POS, you have to fuel them to keep them in space, like to keep them useful. The shield goes down, they become anchored if they run out of fuel. Astro Houses stay forever. Like, you can, I think we still have some in Venal somewhere. that are just littered all over the place. You look at places like these Ascend regions, they have hundreds of them that no one even bothers to look at. Like, they can probably go there years later and dock at them. Is CCP going to look at a change to, like, you have to fuel them to keep them there, or they become, like, collectible? Like, how's this going to work?
Well, I think it would be a good idea. I mean, it's so easy. You just throw up Astor houses and throw up your Citadels and just forget about them. They're there until somebody goes and puts forth all of the effort to blow them up. And it's the amount of effort, the imbalance of effort there is just extraordinary. And when you had the POS system, POS run out of fuel, they go offline and they can be killed, no timer. I would really like to see something like that on Citadels, or something to mitigate just leaving abandoned Citadels there. And I mean, look at what we're doing. I think we're fueling the Citadels, but we can forget about them forever, and they're just going to sit there until they go through all of the effort necessary to actually kill the damn thing.
And I think, unlike POSes, which POSes, I believe, if I remember right, you might correct me on this because you've done this before, it's 8 hours for them to self-repair. It's 15 minutes on an Astor house. So you're looking at a situation where, like Grath pointed this out last night on the Open Comm show, where they did the first 2 timers. A week later, he gets home from work like 10 minutes late. The thing repaired itself. And he forgot to get to it in time. And now it's right back to starting all over again. Do you think that, like, with small Citadels, it should be all 3 timers like it is with a Keepstar, or should maybe they tier it where it's like a small is 2 timers, a medium's 3 timers, and maybe a Keepstar's 4 or something like that, instead of all 3?
I'm not going to try, and I don't know what the best solution might be, or what solution CCP might eventually use if they do something. But yeah, it's ridiculous where it is. I mean, Aerith compared these to SBUs. Now, SBUs didn't have timers on them.
Yeah, that's another interesting point. Like, Aerith, I mean, do you think with the game the way it is now, with the amount of money in the game, I mean, imagine Citadels in the Casino War with the amount of money they were throwing around. How, like, could you spend enough time killing these things? I think it's like, what, 10 or so man-hours per Astor house to kill one once it does come online? Could you imagine having to do that for thousands of these things? Like, is that balanced?
It's already occurring. I mean, we've already done that in Delve. We're already starting to see that in Hack, where people with private ISK are like, hey, guys, can I drop one? We're like, sure, if you want. It's your ISK, man. And so we have people just dropping them to drop them. I think there's a timer coming out in a few hours that's just some private one. So that's already occurring. You're already seeing this spawn across EVE. They're already being used at a mass scale. It's only going to get worse. And no, you can't really fight this. You're converting ISK into man hours, just like SBUs, and that's kind of the comparison. The timers make it far worse. This is an order of magnitude worse than SBUs.
Yeah, so here's the point, and maybe Asher or Aerith can go with this. When you're looking at Citadels, how does this affect an alliance like, say, Darkness, who's dropped 3 or 4 Keepstars and is now having to engage in a war where they're having to use huge Mac fleets? They're losing, potentially Supers, maybe even Titans someday. Like, how does it affect an alliance like that? I know with Goons, a lot, like you said, a lot of it's private. Random Joe Goon says, "Look, I got 300 bill lying around. I want a Keepstar." But with the ones we're looking at, Darkness, it looks like 3 or 4 of those were like alliance-owned assets. How does that affect an alliance like that compared to, say, like Goons?
Well, first of all, that alliance is retarded because most people don't realize Goons. Neither of our 2 main keeps that we use, they weren't dropped by the alliance; they were given to the alliance.
Right.
So if you're buying your own keeps, y'all are dumb. And your people are poor.
Yeah, so I mean, like, this is what I'm trying to figure out here, because you saw Sword Dragon, and we'll go into the war a little bit more in depth later, but you saw Sword Dragon screaming at his dudes recently and having to apologize, and, like, a lot of anger in that coalition. They've owned, Deck and Branch uncontested, blue to everyone around them. They didn't have, like, a MOA poking at their ass for a year. And, I mean, they could potentially be struggling with money, because you're starting to see less and less Max from them. You're starting to see other ships. They're upset about the super loss. Like, how the fuck does that even happen?
They have it. I mean, you got to remember that we were first movers in this new system. Like, we already planned. I knew what to do. I had to convince us internally to support me in all the methods that I needed to do it. And that took a while, but we were still ahead of the game. We've been doing this far longer than anyone else at the economic level. You can see it in the reports. So we're far ahead of everybody in this game. So I do see how they could be having issues, especially if they're paying for their own keeps. That's just, oh.
I don't miss Declan at this point. I don't really care to go back. But it just makes me a little bit sad to know what that region is capable of putting out, and seeing what they're doing with it.
Eric, you're kind of wrong there, though. Haven't you heard from the opposing side how we've come here to fight and take Declan back?
What?
They're throwing us back.
They literally said this recently, that we're here to take back the North, and that is what they're telling their line members, because their line members over Reddit this week, that's all they've talked about.
Delve is the best region in the game right now.
I think it was Doom Chinchilla last night said that the war of solveless aggression, or the casino war, was the greatest thing to happen to Goons, because it took away Deck, which is this long stringy thing, and stuck them in Delve.
He's 100% right.
And Goons benefited the best out of that outcome.
We would have never moved if no one had pushed us.
Right,
yes, he's right.
We had this argument about leaving Deck. Remember when we surrendered Delve? I was the only one. I said, look, if we're going to surrender a region, surrender Deck. And we all knew realistically that Goons would not move. Hell no, we're not going to give up our homeland to go to Delve. But Delve was objectively better. Like, thanks. You kicked us out of number 2 into number 1. I mean, that's not even moving the goalposts. It's like, that's just objectively better. Look at the report.
Now, I'm speculating here, and since you guys are going to the CSM Summit soon, we have a moon mining change coming. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I did not include this in my notes, but I just thought about it when we talk about Delve being the best region. Is CCP and its moon rebalance that's coming, the randomization of all moons in Eve, do you think they're going to look at places like Delve and Deck and these places that have these insane number of R64s and try to rebalance it out per region, or is it going to stay relatively where it's at in terms of
I think they're
quality?
Going to do script. I mean, they don't need to do it by region. All they need to do is just regen the whole thing. There's going to be one or two other regions in the drone regions that are actually going to be compete with Delve for number 1, depending on how this works out.
That'll be interesting. Okay.
It'd be weird for drone region space to be good.
Yeah,
you can see a good dogpile.
Drones is ridiculous because they have no NPC space, but that's for a different story.
Right, it's kind of like, how Impasse is like the only place that, well, not the only place, but it's a good region, not based on its true sec. It's based on, being landlocked with no NPC space near it. Like, so much of the drone region is like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine like if Paragon Soul and places like that got good R64s, like that.
How much does true sec matter anymore? I don't
think it matters. It absolutely matters.
Okay.
It matters in terms of like the belts, like the rats that spawn, like how good the.
You can have a colossal though in any one.
Well, not
now,
that,
right?
not mighty,
the right
ratting.
Upgrades.
The amount of shit you get ratting is insanely, but like the drone regions is ridiculous because it's all hordes, and they get like 30 of the motherfuckers. So I don't know. I'm hoping that they look at that after they look at moon mining. They look at the drones and go, okay, how do we fix this shithole that it is? Because it really is. I mean, even PL talks about how they would never invade that shit again because it's just such a mess. But we're getting a little bit off tack here. So let's go on to a patch that's coming August 15th. I missed this this week, but I caught it here a couple hours ago. We have structure guided bomb change. And now, Asher, you said that they are buffing these. How are they buffing these compared to what CCP claimed to be a nerf of these things?
Well, they did lower the radius of the bomb, so they did make a technical nerf in that sense. The problem is that when they lowered the radius and the firing time, it fires every 40 seconds instead of every 20. They increased the amount it nuded. So it means that basically every ship is other than like a capital ship is alphaed out of all of their capacitor. Yeah. The problem is it's like we talk a lot about this fleet and being type thing. Yep. The problem is that if they exist, you have to bring a doctrine that is newt proof, and there's like 3 of those. There's like 3 battleship doctrines that fit into that thing. Yep. You can bring Tempest, Typhoons, or Macarials. And there's a couple other niche kind of things you can do, but that's really your main choices. And so that's the reason you see so many people flying those things because, well, not Tempest because they suck. But
TFIs, people are looking at getting into those again. I've heard a lot of talk about
maybe.
Those.
The problem with TFI is, like, at least before, the Macarial did everything the TFI did better for roughly the same cost.
Yeah, and that's, I guess that could be a question for Aerith real quick is, are we eventually, I mean, with the enemy I say enemy as in like the entire north is using nothing but max. The drone lands use nothing but max. Is it going to hit a point in the coming months, 3, 4, 5 months, where max just skyrocket in price because that supply just starts to drain? When you're seeing hundreds and hundreds die. No?
No, there's way too much supply.
Okay. Because I know CCP is trying to fix the problem that is faction battleships, like max, nightmares, stuff like that. But you don't think they're ever going to be able to?
I think they could. They just didn't go far enough. I don't think what they did is going to generate prices high enough to matter. If they went a little further, I think it could.
They did increase the build cost, so there is a base cost that is increased for the material.
Yeah, but it was fuck all. I mean,
I
like
laughed
double
at that.
the base cost. Like basically brought it like it costs 2 T1 battleships now.
One of the big ones I did see, and I don't know how much this is actually going to work, and I kind of laughed at this change because it doesn't look like anyone ever uses these damn things. But they did increase the anti-subcapital damage that comes out of the Citadel. For years, I've always talked, ever since they talked about these things and showed the numbers, that their ability to fight subcaps is so bad that they're useless against subcaps, right? Like, you bring a Mac fleet, and you're going to hit, a Mac fleet versus an Astra House or a Fortizar. It's not going to fight back. Hell, even a Keepstar, really, is not going to fight as well without the DD running all the time. So, does this 33% change and then, change to these missiles really help? Like, do they actually make a difference versus Mac fleets? Or is it not going to be much of a difference at all? Like, is 33% enough, Asher?
I'm sorry, 33% on what? I didn't know what you were talking about.
You didn't look at the... So they adjusted the missiles.
Oh, you're talking about the subcap missile increase?
Yeah, they're increasing
No,
this...
it's not a huge difference, no.
Yeah, like, it's like 30%, but I don't think it's even going to matter, will it?
Most people run the cap ones anyway, so you're not talking about people... Like, the thing that makes them so powerful is the Ebor modules, the tackle, the webs, even the paint is really strong. And then you run the capital missiles because they can really shred caps if you drop them on. And that's the thing, like a 1 billion Astra House can kill like 5 or 6 faxes before it goes down, which is a pretty darn good trade, or even more dreads if they.
That and if you're using the Astra House and it's vulnerable, the enemy FC is just not going to leave. Like, he's stuck there.
Yeah,
like
you're guaranteed
the
to
whole
have your
fleet
scrammed and held the whole time.
Right, like the whole fleet's going to possibly leave, the fight's over, but the enemy FC is still going to die, and those are usually the most expensive ships. You're looking at sometimes implants.
You can only use afterburning doctrines because anything with an NWD, they're just going to cycle this scram on and off on ships and just hold it and kill it. So there's no such thing as a kiting doctrine or even a fast moving doctrine on an Astra House anymore.
Yeah, and so we got some cool things too. New map coming out, new map beta. I haven't really played with it too much. We'll see how that goes. Some minor scanning changes for those of you that do exploration. When you go to save bookmarks for things like wormholes or SIG IDs, it'll include the SIG ID automatically now. So you no longer have to write that shit down manually, which was a pain in the ass for wormholers. And then they made some small Citadel graphical changes, like lights and like the way they look and all that. And they added things like you can make corporate... I believe corporate contracts, or is it corporate insurance? One of the two is coming. So that's all in the patch notes. That'll be Tuesday. So we'll see that shit all live Tuesday and going into Wednesday. So that's a pretty cool thing.
You left out the big one, though.
Oh, please.
They're removing captain's quarters.
This is coming with this patch. I thought that was later.
No, it just happened. Like, I think it's Tuesday.
Oh, fuck. Well, yeah, captain's quarters are going away. Fuck. I forgot about that. Are you sad by this, Anominate, then? Because you brought it up.
Not even a little bit.
Really? Because I
had
like
one developer spending 10 minutes maintaining that was too much time.
Oh. See, I liked Captain's Quarters because it was a complete waste of time.
Well, it would have been great if it was a complete feature and it worked and, like, you could see other people. But, no, it's a closet where you can look at yourself. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I like the dream of the MMO wear shop and hookers and strippers on poles as you go into a station and that kind of thing. Like, actually putting to use all these cool ideas, and they just never went with it, and I was sad. Who used that shit? I don't know. There were some people that, like, really went upset about that. Yeah, so we're going to move on now to our Nullsec Power Hour. Thanks for the update about the CSM. So that's coming next week, and the patch this Tuesday. So as we move into Nullsec Power Hour, we got a lot of cool shit to talk about. Okay, and as we move into the Nullsec Power Hour, we want to thank Poison Fury TA for his recent second month in a row subscription, and he says, woohoo! So our first thing we're going to talk about, because I want to get to these subjects pretty quickly, Alliance Tournament. Asher, you just finished participating in the Alliance Tournament last weekend, and you did something that I was very shocked that you did, and I was very happy you did it. You jumped out of the arena. High five, sir. I was kind of hoping to see nothing but rifters, but I'll take jumping out of the arena as a better thing. And so here's the link, everyone, for the Alliance Tournament page if you want to see what's going on today. Before we get to Asher real quick, just to give you results for the day, it'll be NC Dot versus Hydra's B team, which is called Phaedra, in the semifinal, and then the other semifinal will be Laserhawks versus Pen is Out. Initiative just recently lost to Pen is Out. That was an interesting match. But where the big deal is, and the things to watch tomorrow, is the loser bracket. 3 out of 4 previous Alliance Tournament winners and or finalists will be in the loser bracket for tomorrow, which means 2 very big names in the Alliance Tournament are going home tomorrow, which will be huge. Like, PL could be out tomorrow. They have a pretty long road ahead of them. So, Asher, real quick, because I know a lot of people want to talk about the war, and we're going to get to that. How was that like? What was that like for you? Like doing all of that stuff?
Yeah, it was really fun. We practiced for a long time. We had like basically all new players, basically a whole new team. So like we had to do everything from scratch. Like if you're pulling up a fit for like a Punisher, right? Like another A team would already have that. We had to make it and like come up with the best fit that we could. So it was really fun. We won a game, which was our goal. Both teams that we lost to are still in it, but we lost to Brave, which Aerith is giving me a lot of shit for because he said they're bad, but they're still kicking ass. Actually, they're doing really well.
I still
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I still don't understand how the fuck you lost to Brave. Like, I just don't understand how that could happen.
Brave has a good AD team. They've beat a lot of good teams, and we lost to the Runnin, who are also still alive. Brave versus Test tomorrow. I saw on Reddit that the loser gets to name the winner's home, or vice versa. The winner gets to name the loser's home station for a week.
Oh,
so that should be pretty
cool.
funny.
Yeah, that'll be pretty neat. Yeah, so I mean, if you guys do enjoy watching, I know a lot of our viewers don't really care for AT. I know a lot of Elysium were like, lol, AT, that's, whatever. But the AT can be interesting because, especially some of the AT ships are fun to blow up in 0-0, and, it can be interesting to watch, especially near the later stages like this coming out. So that's what's happening tomorrow. If you are into watching EVE, I'll probably be watching it on my phone while I'm at drag racing tomorrow. And then as we move on, we jump into a very, very heated topic. Right now, it's the war in the north. For those of you that don't know, the sides from last week were drawn out. It's Goons versus NC and MC. Tess was supposed to be here, but apparently Tess decided to come down to Ob all of a sudden. I don't know why they're in Ob, but they're in Ob. And what is going on with this war? I mean, Aerith, you tend to mastermind a lot of economic warfare. What is your overall thing here? What is going on with this?
So it's not just economic, but it's also sometimes suffering infliction upon others. That's really what I live for in this game. So the whole Roach Motel was my plan. It was something that we had worked on. We kind of knew roughly the ratios of what we needed to buy. We had it pre-staged in the north for some time now as sort of a retaliatory strike if something came down to Delve. And so we have it sitting here. We want to use it, and now we have a bunch of guys that want to do stuff. So we thought we were going to have this war where you're going to have multiple fronts on the north, and we'd all have fun and have good fights and get our probes in on hostile territory. And then they did something very interesting. They just abandoned the whole kind of northwest front, and they just moved to the north front, which meant they just surrendered all the moons in the syndicate area to Init, which they had just taken. And so now Init has all their income back, and they don't really need Quirius again. And and then we surrender 10 moons around Fountain in exchange. So I think we're up like 27 moons or so 27 R64s overall in the war. It's like, I think it's going great.
Yeah, I actually saw something extremely interesting that came up about this, is that a lot of our enemies like to separate, and this was talked about the Fireside today, they like to separate out Initiative from the Imperium. They seem to forget that Initiative's been with us for a long time now, and that they're part of the coalition that is the Imperium. Whereas, I don't know if I would view MC as part of the North. I feel like they're kind of just there. Maybe even pets at this point for NC, because they tend to not do anything unless NC's involved. And we're seeing that with Initiative as part of this, one of the sides of this Northern War. You're seeing Initiative take all of the moons back not even in a week. It's been like, a week since they started that shit? Maybe 2 weeks, and MC is nowhere. Like, they're not even trying. They're in full pull up to the tribute. I mean, is this the best that they could, like, the best idea they have is to come back up here, Asher? Like, is it really going to help having MC up here with their 20 dudes, their ex-MOA?
Well, I mean, they couldn't beat Initiative, so it was their only option, right? Like it was as soon as Initiative came and they didn't have NC Dot to hold their hand, they had to leave. That was, I mean, there was no option.
But couldn't they?
You saw MC talking shit for the last 3 months, but
Yes.
It was only because they had their big brother standing behind them, right? Like, as soon as he had to go focus on something else, they're like, we'll just follow him.
Yeah, we'll just go with him so we don't get punched in the mouth.
Let me go hold your cape.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. You're talking about how, like, you were saying, like, you think, like, people don't, like, think Initiative is part of the Imperium, or that we hadn't had this planned beforehand. Like I was talking to folks about 2 weeks before we deployed and did this. Like, yeah, this is what will happen. We will draw them here, and then we thought they'd put up more of a fight. Actually, to be honest, we're like, well, we'll probably have better numbers to fight against, but it turns out they just dogpiled us and gave Initiative everything.
Speaking of things that are going on right now, apparently Rataru just died in Delve. Hostiles tried to anchor one, it just got blown up, so another one bites the dust in the Delve defensive. Go ahead, Aerith, sorry.
So it's kind of, we expected it to take weeks for one single front to develop, right? We always thought, hostiles eventually realized, hey, you should move to a single front, but just to drop it is either prescient or really smart, but it also just surrenders all that income. So it's kind of like, okay, these are the last few months of guaranteed income from Moons. Do we really want to surrender all that? But if you're just going to hand them to us, fine. Okay, now we're just going to have funsies.
Yeah,
it was unusual. We did like sometimes we make it off like, oh, we anticipated all this. We did not anticipate that. We thought they would fight for them, and they just didn't.
Another thing that was extremely, extremely surprising to me too was worse. Like, Horde could very quickly get to Syndicate. Darkness can very quickly get to Syndicate, especially basing where they do in near 7RM. For them, it's a Titan Bridge and a couple of gates to get to Cloud Ring, and then another Titan Bridge into Syndicate. Like, why wouldn't they defend it as well as? I mean, do they just say fuck it, we'll get it back in a couple of months? The income's not worth it. Like, I don't understand their thinking here, because if say we just sat in the north and forced them to focus on us, Initiative could hold those for as long as we feel like, months and months and months, and just gather that money. Like, what benefit did they have just surrender it that quickly? I don't understand. Like, it's very confusing to me.
I don't know. Probably to preserve their kill-death ratios. I don't know.
Yeah, like, it seems shocking, because now that Initiative's got that money, they've got 34 moons, they've got
37
or whatever in income. Now they can push on Cloud Ring, go into Horde's ass, up Fade. Like, this frees Initiative up a lot faster than I thought it would. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, none of us expected Initiative to be free in the first 60 days.
Oh, I don't know. It's this war in the North's been hilarious.
And so, to me, I want to walk. I don't know why everyone's trying to herf a lot of this. Like, this isn't some sort of, I don't know, forever war or whatever. This is just, hey, we've been in a coma for a year, making shitloads of money. Let's get some fighting weight back.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. Like, I have personally enjoyed every second of this war up here. Like, I'm just having a blast, because like, this is the first war I think in 10 years of playing this game. Maybe Anominate, you've been around a very long time also, and you can comment to this. I feel like with this war, it just feels like I'm just there, right? Like, there's things to do and there's stuff to do, but in 10 years of EVE, almost every war I've ever been a part of has been extremely serious. And with this one, it's like, oh hey, I just fragged 40 ships, 50 ships, hooray! Oh look, I just got a Nix. Oh hey, let's go solve hack. What are they gonna do about it? I feel like the solve hacking is a lot more fun too. Sorry.
There's definitely a lot of ISK being thrown around, and not really a whole lot of urgency to actually accomplish anything with it.
Yeah. Because
we've got the meta has gotten to the point where we're so rich, we're like, hey, we're just gonna kind of salt your regions a little bit for fun. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. You're gonna have to grind that shit out.
Yeah, I that's what I'm seeing here. So we had a bunch of comments in chat, and we had a bunch of comments in Elysium recently talking about the war and saying how they hate Fozzysolve. But a lot of people don't realize, or they're just not paying attention. Fozzysolve is amazing when you're on the offense. Like, when you're on the offense, you just took down their iHub. Okay, they just lost their jump bridge, they just lost Sino Jammer, and they just lost Sino Beacon. Now they gotta put their supers in an umbrella that's not Sinojammed. They can't just park in PBD anymore. And then you put down your own iHub. Well, now it's going to take them even longer to get it back because now they got to go hack your iHub and then win the timer. And it just feels so enjoyable a year later now to be on the offensive and just do whatever. It just feels like it's a whatever war. That's the way I want to word this. That's the term I want to call it, a whatever war. Because we don't hold it to anything, right?
Yeah, we don't want the space because we don't want to live in it. And if you don't take space anymore, you can't live in a dense way. So what's the next best thing? Just pissing in someone's Cheerios because they were trying to piss in ours. Let us show you. Yeah, like Horde came down or whatever. Like, no, hold on. Let us show you guys how it's really done.
Yeah, and that's where I find it. And Asher, you can comment on this, and maybe I shouldn't educate our enemies, so I'll skip what I did want to say about the Asher House spam. But I mean, we're just doing this in Tribute. How do you think it would be for our enemies if we start doing it in Declan, Tribute, Veil, like all over the fucking place? Like imagine, them having to deal with 5, 6, 7 of these in Declan every day, on top of Tribute, on top of Veil. Like the 35.
You need some threat. You need some threat behind it. Like you can't just drop them. Like, or else they're just gonna use 5 bombers to hold the timers and then clean them up. So yeah, that there has to be some threat behind that. The actual, okay. But yes, it is. It's a strategy that is very annoying, very tough to counter, and very easy to prosecute from our side. Like from their side, the amount of effort we put into doing it's like Fozzie stuff. Right. The amount of effort we put into doing it is much less than the amount of effort they have to put into defending it.
Okay, that makes sense then, because I could imagine, I mean, like SBUs. You used to SBU spam a place. It's just like, okay, you go kill the SBUs, otherwise we're going to shoot your solve. And then it got to a point where the enemy was like, okay, we can't kill enough SBUs fast enough, so we're going to let them stay and force you to come get them. But with Asher Houses, once those things go online, they're like a fucking pimple in the middle of your back. You can't get to them unless you work really hard to like go out of your way to get that. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but that's best I can think of at the moment. But like, imagine, I mean, for me, Asher Houses are safe havens, right? You take that interceptor fleet, now you can live in their space. You don't have to cloaky camp. You don't have to worry about getting decloaked. You don't have to worry about getting killed, like if your POS dies or you get bumped out. Like, it's just, Asher Houses are so amazing.
Well, it's more like you're spending a little bit of treasure to say, hey, Mittens calls it the thumper. Like, we like the Fortizar and Hakonnen because it's like summoning the worms. Like, hey, the worms might come and they might be really coordinated and organized, and none of them bump and none of them go to 1 million. And okay, we can't get any this time, but who cares? We fire the thumper, fire it again.
I can only speak. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
And if it gets online, then you get 3 thumps. It's awesome.
Go ahead.
I can only speak from my personal perspective. Like this is me. I really enjoy being able to fight against their much superior forces. Like they've got HA Titans, they've got Capital Gun Titans, they've got supers. We don't have any of that. We left that all home.
Right.
If we were like I don't know if you've seen any of them trying to claim that we're trying to.
They did this last night. Last night, all you heard Doom talk about, because he sounded really bitter, and I've never heard him talk before, and it reminded me of this NC Dot guy I've talked to before. But he was just like, oh yeah, you guys won't use those dreads. We both know better because we'll just DD them to death. And you saw how NC Dot didn't really bring their Titans because we're so superior that we don't need to.
Well, he's right. He's right. I mean, they want us to use. They want us to use the dreads in a way that they could doomsday them, because it's not an even fight in any way. Like there's some group of people who thinks that you can just drop like 500 dreads on things and it'll work, but it won't. But from a very personal perspective, like I really enjoy the chance of being able to fight outnumbered and work on adjusting our strategy, because from the first Fortizar fight to the second Fortizar fight, the amount of improvement we made is so much better. And then you use that information going forward. Like it doesn't matter. Like so, we lost 178 billion in the second fight, and we killed 120 billion. We didn't have Titans. We didn't have supers. They had more numbers than us.
Oh yeah,
so you're talking about a huge advantage to them, and we're keeping it that close. Like to me, I take a lot of pride in that. Like that's awesome.
Well, remember what I said. I said this publicly on, I think, Talking in Stations maybe 2 months ago.
Yep.
We started doing this plan, and I think it was the NC Dot guy. It was a Matterall. He asked me straight up, like, what the strategy was. I said, we are willing to trade 2 or 3 to 1 because our income is so much higher than all of you. Like, all of you combined, we'll trade 2 or 3 to 1. Let's go.
Yeah, I brought this up yesterday. Like, if you look at, for example, the Kill Mill Fortizar fight. Okay, the big Fortizar fight. If you take out the dreads that were lost by Pro God Legend and his group, and then you take out our dreads that we dropped on the Fortizar, the fight's dead even. It ends up being about 150 bill to 120 billion. We lost double the Typhoons that they lost at Max, but Max, it's just so much more expensive to replace, and Typhoons ensure really well.
That's what they were there for. They killed what they were there for. Like, but no, I mean, you don't need to take anything out to make it look good. Like, we're using no supers, no Titans, less numbers, and we're getting that close. Like, to me, there's no way not to be excited about that, and that's why I was practically giddy on comms afterwards. But what I'm saying is, like, you guys keep going back to like meta explanations, and what I'm talking about is strictly from an FC perspective, from my perspective of trying to improve. I love that we got better, we did better, and I love tinkering with this stuff and trying to get better because you can use that. You know, once you're actually using your big toys, everything you learn from when you fought outnumbered is being used when you have the advantage, and then that just amplifies your advantage. So everything we learn here is going to be used in the future.
Yeah, what he's basically saying is this is Delve Defense Prep 2. Like, if we can even come close here, when we have our Super Umbrella, it's a curb stomp.
Yeah, and that's even what they brought up last night, and I wanted to ask, Asher about this, and maybe even nominate, because you've been on these fleets, as far as I can see, maybe you've been traveling stuff, but they brought this up, and it was Doom himself. He said if we went to Delve and did this same thing, you'd expect goons to return the favor with their Titan Supers and just this giant mega blob of things. So why shouldn't we use it up here? And one of the things I noticed that they were using, and I'm surprised this works in LowSec. I did not know this AoE Doomsday worked. The GTFO. And he brought up that every time that those nightmares would land, he would GTFO them to the point where, like, Pro God Legend was furious. Like, he's like, oh, fuck
pretty
this.
Cool, yeah.
But how do they work? Why should they work in LowSec? Aren't they?
It's not destructive. So, I mean, I think what it is like the general. I don't know. I'm not CCP, but the general rule of thumb is that LowSec you can't use AOE things that. But I mean, smart bombs work and ECM bursts work. So I don't know exactly why. But it doesn't affect your soft status or your sec status. So maybe that's why they let you do it.
Yeah, it doesn't really cause aggression in the traditional sense, but apparently. During heavy tie-dye, it GTFOs one ship at a time. So, like, it just randomly pulls a ship.
That actually sounds like an oversight to me, not getting aggression for that.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see. I mean, you get the 5-minute DD timer, but, like, I think if you log off, it doesn't affect it in that way. I'd be curious to see it, because I've never used one. Like, I've had one.
I've used them before. I've warped in and DD'd mining, or GTFO'd mining ops.
They are hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I know. Great. Yeah, they're funny.
Where'd the asteroids go?
Yeah, it was great. Or I did it to a Carbon Fleet gate camp once. That was a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, so, I mean... So, to get back here, all right, so we talked a little bit about Syndicate, talked about this, and the push into the north. What could they do? Like, what's the end goal for them? Because, I mean, they're really pushing hard to make this full-blown Goons versus Horde, Goons versus Darkness, this big blown-up war. I just don't understand it. Like, these people talk about for years now that Goons never leave their home, Goons never come out and do anything. I'm an old player. We've done shit a lot. But I feel like this, too, to use a comparison here, and maybe Aerith would like this. What we did to CVA. iHubs are expensive when they're fully kitted out. Like, when you have 1.5, 1.6 bill in them worth of, like, solve jammers and upgrades and all that, and then you blow one up, they've got to replace that. And you can do that hundreds and hundreds of times over Veil and Tribute. Like, isn't that eventually going to hit some sort of pocketbook when they're constantly losing iHubs, TCUs,
of course.
On top of ships?
Everyone knows, of course. Everyone right now knows winter is coming. Like, so what we are doing is we are purposely making you expend blood and treasure of your very limited treasuries that you've built up in this new system when they're about to yank moons out. So you want to go into the moon removal with a shitload of this. We got it. They don't.
I just love when you talk money because it's always hilarious.
I like looking at the different perspectives because, like, oftentimes, like, for instance, like when Mittens and I are talking, we're talking about the same thing, but we're talking from totally different angles because our goals are different, you know. like when I was like pushing to deploy, I'm like, like the State of the Union that Mitten read is not like what I was thinking, like because I have different goals, and so when you hear Aerith talk about his goals, and you hear all the different things that people think about, and it's all through their particular mirror that you get to hear their thoughts.
No, we all have the same goals. It's just different facets of the same goal. Our goal is very the same. It's fuck bitches, get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
See, my goal in this is to I'm having more fun. Like I went and hacked in a ship the other day. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know what you think of this anomaly, but Gar Sniper, did you see his hacking fleet? He took every single one of his. So he took every single one of his alts and stuck them in one of those industrial hackers, and there was like 50 of them. And he's like, "This is revenge for my oracles." I always wondered when this solve came out how a multi-boxer was going to do something like this. And now to see Gar doing it, especially that we're on the offensive, that's disgusting. I mean, imagine, they don't own a lot of space. Tribute's not that big. But imagine a place like Declan, where you're stretched across 4 Sinos, having to defend all of that from a guy that can hack every single system you own at once. I just don't see... I don't see the benefit of living in the north. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't want our enemies to move south, but where's the benefit here? Like, what is good about living up north anymore with the way it's so spread out and everything?
I don't like the north at all. Like, if I was a deck right now, like if we owned a deck, it would not be set up the way it is, like the way those alliances are carved up. It's completely inefficient. It doesn't utilize the region properly. So they haven't set deck up right. It is fixable to some degree, but you can never kind of get over the basic geography of the north. And Vino just makes deck really bad to live in if there's someone persistently harassing you from Vino. Right. So I think that's what people should worry about the most in the north.
Back to the Citadels now.
Yep.
Because it's so you can just put Citadels up in Venal and harass the hell out of deck.
That's a very good point. God,
that's something we never had to deal with up there. We just had to deal with the NPC stations, and at least everyone can mess around on those.
Yeah, that's a level of scariness that this can evolve into. I mean, in the terms of thousands of things, I'm really looking forward to that. But another thing that's developing as of today and yesterday and a couple days ago, we knew Tri has officially reset the drones. We knew this was coming. But what we didn't know, and we just heard this recently, is Tri is going on the warpath. They've announced a move. They are going away from the south. We kind of figured they would leave the south and go on an adventure. The question is where. So right now, to talk about the war in the south, our last little bit here before we call it a day. In the south right now, you have CO2 pressed into solar renters. They got tired of solar having renters nearby their house, so they attacked it. Solar responded by calling all of the drones down to help them, including FCON, to which then GigX declared war on FCON. So right now, for those who are wondering, GigX versus FCON, so CO2 versus FCON in the south. But the thing about this, and maybe this is just me, but I'd shoot FCON before I shot CO2. What do you think, Asher? If it came down to it, like you're watching both murder each other's titans, whose titan are you killing first?
CO2.
Really?
I can't even ask me that question. Like I don't. I'm upset you just said what you said, but I can't believe you would ask me that question.
Like, come on. Like CO2 gets shot before anyone.
No, like I would kill GigX's titan.
Like I don't like PL, I don't like NC, but I would shoot CO2 10 times before I would shoot either of those.
Okay, so we say that. Okay, I like to think that would be the case, but in the last 6 months it really hasn't been. So that's why I ask, because I would shoot GigX's Erebus. Boom, dead, gone. But then after
if you were
I killed
in an elevator
Erebus,
with CO2 and Hitler, and you had one bullet in your gun, who would you shoot?
CO2. There'd be no question.
Thank you.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's a really bad analogy to use on this show. If Mittens would hear, he would bring up a really interesting.
It's kind of bad timing. People did just get squashed.
What? Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yes, I need to
You're
read
a
the
sensitive
news.
person.
But something that was fucking hilarious.
Oh, I just put up the news, dude. I didn't know. Holy shit.
Oh, you didn't even know?
I didn't know, man.
I thought you were subtly trolling. I was giving you.
No, I wasn't. I did. Oh, wow.
Way to go, Asher. Way to fucking
I just ruined everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So about back to where we were. But no, so this was kind of hilarious and very shocking. Is GigX was there for the last Fortizar fight. I don't know if you guys saw this. GigX was there. Okay, he was at the fight. He got a nightmare from Pro God Legend. He flew in their fleet. When he died in his nightmare, he proceeded to get a probing ship. It was looking for Crash Supers to belong to Darkness. And for him, it's like his own little personal war in the North. I found that ironic that he messaged me on Skype and was like, hey, bud, how's it going? Here's some supers. Go kill them. When he backstabbed us first. Like, it's very ironic that he's complaining about, yes, this is our chance to get back at the backstabbers that are Sword Dragon. But didn't this motherfucker just do that 6 months prior? I mean, come on now.
The way he did it, I think, was worse. Because Sword wouldn't do it like mid-fight or try to trap you. At least he would just screw you over, like, and tell you, hey, I just screwed you over. So at least your super fleet isn't going to get hit. And that's kind of the fundamental difference is even when your friends still thought they were your friend, you try to stab in the back. Come on.
Yeah, that was a bridge too far. So it's pretty useful.
Well, remember, Gigax didn't even come and tell us that to our face. He sent Sebastian to do it.
No, he didn't even send Sebastian too. He announced it on Reddit, and then Sebastian was like, "Yeah, it's true." Remember, they sent the judge. Sebastian. They sent the judge, and Sebastian just happened to be there because I was there for that.
I don't remember the judge being there. I only remember
Judge posted it to Reddit, and then while we were on comms with Sebastian, and Sebastian was like, "Yeah, it's real. Sorry."
Sebastian was their sin eater. We're all like screaming at him, and I felt so bad because Sebastian was like the only one from that alliance that I liked.
Yeah, he
and the dude sounded like he was on the verge of tears.
Well,
like,
he was too because he had some real life things happen right at the same time that really like put him over the top. So it was like a double hit. He lost all his Eve friends and then real life problems, and it was like, oh fuck. So yeah, that I felt bad.
Yeah, I feel worse about that than anything else that happened.
But at the end of the day,
that's part of my anger. That's like a big part of my anger at CO2 is that they put him through that. Like you guys couldn't even be big enough a man, and either show up and say, yeah, we're doing it, fuck you, see ya, and just sign off.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think it's amazing. I think there's stuff happening, and winter's not even here yet. Like, winter's coming. CVA is going to be the happy hunting ground come December. So I want to see where this goes. Now, it was mentioned earlier today, someone brought this up, that this could go a month, it could go longer. I mean, is there really a time limit here with this war? Like, do you guys see a time limit? I can see this going on forever. Like, I could not get bored of it right now.
Depends how long it takes us to get bored.
Yeah, I mean, is there really like a timetable where we just say, okay, yeah, we're done? Or is it like, just keep going?
Yeah, kind of. So I think what you're going to see is I think it could go on until such time as CCP announces the date for the patch, and then you may see everybody gangbang Provi.
Right, so good couple months. Yeah, I like that. Because, see, I could see a situation, and just me, where our Citadel creep could lead to CCP addressing this issue of unlimited unfueled Citadels, right? Because once you drop them... Like, I could see CCP coming to this, because they've done this before. When goons take a mechanic and then amplify it 10-fold or 100-fold, they then look at it and go, oh, fuck, yeah, that might have been an oversight. Maybe we should adjust this, like they did with Oracles. Like, just these snap decisions. Do you think that could happen, one last thing here before we go for the day, do you think that could happen with Citadels?
That's part of the whole point of this plan. Like, I was one of the original people rallying against the way they implemented this with Lark and around how the vulnerability zones work. I always felt like Keepstar should have the very small window, and Astrahusha should have the very large window. I always felt like they should be a little bit more money, and I always felt like some of the other capabilities should be slightly different so they're not so oppressing in combat. They had their reasons for doing it differently, which is kind of sticking up for the little guy. I get it, but look at what we're getting. So, of course, we're going to abuse it to try to prove the point, rolling into a summit. I mean, that's kind of the...
Yeah, I could see it. I could see that going this way, because while it's nice that Citadels could be everywhere, it's getting to a point where, like on the test server, I think in one system they had almost 200 Citadels in one system. Like, there's just unlimited places to put it, since you could put them in every safe spot known to man, as long as they're 2K apart. And then, oh.
But I heard that you're giving out one Plex to the person who types Plex in chat. Is that right?
Sure. Let's do that. Yeah, we haven't done a giveaway on this show in a long time. Let's do that. So everyone types Plex. We'll have a chance to win a Plex. Should I do the 500 Plex or a Plex?
It was just a joke. I was just gonna see if I can get people to write Plex a lot. Maybe give them one,
well, we have a lot of people watching.
1 3 million-isk Plex.
Oh, yeah, good point. All right, so everyone types Plex. You'll have to re-spam it because I just typed the keyword into the chat. It has to be spelled lowercase PLEX. I do have an announcement since you guys are here. You guys are about to go to the summit. CCP is doing a new thing New thing. This is the first time this will be announced publicly. I kind of hinted at it over the last month. But on CCP's official Twitch channel, where you've been watching the Alliance tournament this weekend, they are now going to do a streamer initiative where two INN streamers, Gobble Knox and myself, will be streaming for a period of time starting next week. I believe Gobble Knox is on Monday. I'm not sure on the time. Let me double check that. Gobble Knox will be streaming there Monday from 1800 to 2000 Eve, and I will be streaming there from 2000 to 2200 Eve on Friday. So that is an official CCP stream. The rule is, as long as we don't break any EULA violations, we don't break any Twitch violations, we can do whatever we want in Eve. So we could scam, we can troll, we can run fleets, solo PvP, it doesn't matter. They don't care. As long as we don't break any rules. So that is an official announcement. Guard said that he was going to be doing a thing today to talk about it, and that we could talk about it after that. And then, he disappeared. So I'm guessing it's okay to talk about it. I don't know. But that starts next week, so we'll be giving away cool stuff and doing a lot of cool things. But yeah, thanks, guys, for coming on the show today. I didn't think we'd get the whole hour, but boy, did we get it. Are you guys as excited as I am? Because I'm excited.
I'm enjoying this so much right now.
Yeah, I love this.
Better than mining rocks or whatever we were doing before.
Wait, you're mining rocks right now?
No, I was several months ago.
You're talking about up north. Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah. I had fun today because Killer Bee did this claw fleet. He had 100 claws, and then I undocked a bunch of T1 destroyers and blew up a whole bunch of his fleet, and then he went home.
Did you get a shouting match yesterday, Bud? I heard you got in a shouting match.
With Grath, yeah, I didn't really want to talk about it, but I guess I can. So I didn't really shout. So the open comms guys that happened on Friday, they invited me to come on the show to talk about the war in the North. And the first thing I wanted to do is to troll about the fights and how I thought Phoenixes were amazing. And I was thinking of ways I could just make shit up to have fun. And just see who would catch on to it in chat, or who that was hosting the show would say anything. Then I even took it a step further. And lately, not a lot of people know this, but Horde isn't allowed to FC their own fleets right now. Killer Bee and Capri Sun Craft Foods has been FC. Now, according to Capri, he cleared this up and said he volunteered to do it. But either way, I mean, Horde have their own strong, independent, strategic FCs. It'd be like if, Random Joe Karma, or a Random Joe TNT guy
FCing our fleets.
Right, just some guy comes out of nowhere and says, okay, Asher, get the fuck out of the way. I'm in charge now. I'm running the show. And that's exactly what happens with Horde right now. And so I brought this up.
But I'm not even FCing our fleets. I'm giving our younger guys chances to get experience.
Right, right. Just imagine a situation where you get told to get the fuck out of the way. I mean, as a Horde FC, I'd be pretty fucking triggered. But when I asked Grat this question, along with my other subtle attempts to just make shit up, he lost his damn mind and just started screaming. And even at one point, which Reddit didn't really pick up on this, he told me that I was a disgrace. It was a disgrace to even be on the same Earth as me, or planet, or to know I exist, or whatever, and that I should just jump in front of a bus and kill myself.
Whoa, wait, you can't tell people to kill yourself.
No, but apparently Graf can. See, that's the thing about...
In 2011, someone did that once. They didn't really do that. It's been said they did.
But according to Reddit, he didn't do it on the official CCP platform. But anyway, the point is...
of course.
There's always a thing. But anyways, he starts flipping out, and then he just leaves. He's like, I can't stand to be around this guy anymore. I'm leaving. And I'm holding back laughter as hard as I can. And then Capri Sun showed up, and I talked to Capri, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah,
you're dead on with your point. Not only am I not FCing these fleets, I'm letting our mid-level guys get more experience because they need it, and it's good to have a lot of experience around you. They're not even giving Horde's top guys a chance to do it. They're letting some other people take over from their top guys. So, man, if I was I would be super pissed.
And it gets even better too, because the thing is I think Graf even admitted at one point that someone he knows in Horde isn't really playing, or maybe his girlfriend plays. I don't know. He said something about Horde, not a lot of people playing, but then he said that they have 13,000 people still active. But the thing that gets me about this too is Wild just points out in chat here, he even said it was sad that I teach school children. And how could I lie so basically bullshit the chat so much that I even teach school kids. And
we'll get back to the original point, though. The original premise is there's only really two first order orgs in EVE right now. It's Goons and it's PL. No one ever goes, where is Horde deploying to? Nobody gives a shit because they're a little lapdog org. They don't mean anything by themselves. It's where are the two big dogs with the big FCs, the big logistics and military organization the Superfleet's going to be. And you kind of lump NC into PL together because they don't do anything without each other, right? They hold each other's hand.
Oh, yeah. They
Right.
So think of them as one org. That's it. Like it's not insulting to tell them that they're a second or third order. They probably a third order org. That's fine. It's just acknowledge that and move on. Maybe you'll be a big boy someday.
It's like,
I mean, yeah. So you think?
That's a
I
good
mean, you
point.
think they're just being reasonable? Like, yeah, you don't have the capability to do this appropriately, so we will do it for you. Is what you're saying?
I don't know, because see, I like to think of it too. Like you bring up org levels. I like to think of it like you have China and Russia are buddies, and CNPL, and then you have the United States, Goons, and then we have our allies in like England, which would be like TNT, and France and Germany.
Analogy's already great. Keep going.
And we have our allies, and then you have like China's like subsidiary groups, like you have North Korea, and that would be like Pandemic Horde, and then you have these like little countries that on their own, like MC could be like what is that, Laos or Vietnam or something. Like they're a country that on their own, are they really gonna stand up to a big three? Probably not. But if you lump their military in together with these people, then yeah, you could actually do that. So that's how I like to view it. Like you have your big three, and how China, US, and Russia react determines the world. And it's the same thing in EVE. You have Goons.
I like to think of Test as Liberia rolling around in Cadillacs with the roof sawed off with gold instead of AK-47s.
I would make them second. Like, I would take Test Horde any day of the week.
What with Horde?
I didn't hear
Like
that.
I would want Test over Horde any day of the week. I consider Test second level and Horde like a third.
Yeah, but the thing is, like Ash's analogy, Pro got
never
Legends
gonna-
Gaddafi, just rode around shooting AKs in the air.
Yes, like that's totally it, dude.
And the South is like the Middle East. It's like all
Dude, Pro
Saudi
God is
Arabia and all that shit.
Totally the kind of guy who would like tie a bomb onto a dog and then send it towards you. Like that is such like it's like, dude, it's an innovative tactic. They wouldn't expect this at all.
And you could have CO2 and FCON that could be like Syria fighting ISIS, the little corner. I'm sorry, I went too far, but I'm laughing so much.
Yeah,
at this analogy.
total silence. This is like my Hitler comment. We're all over again.
All right, I hit roll, and this winner is going to be a guy named Smalls95. So he has a few seconds to type in chat to get my attention, and then I'll message him, and he can also, or just say something in chat, tell me his EVE character, and I'll get him some plex. But yeah, so holy fuck! If you guys want to keep going, we could run with these analogies all day. Like holy fuck, we're out of time. Oh fuck, we are out of time. Shit, I think what's his name? Gommel Knox is up next, isn't he? Fuck. I just realized we're like taking up time. He says, "Hey, I'm here." Okay, you need to whisper me or tell me your EVE name. Wait, you're not. Yeah, you are following. So yeah, you can do that. So you need to tell me your EVE name, dude. Yeah, tell me your EVE name and I'll send you plex. But yeah, thank our guests. Seriously, thanks guys for coming by. We gotta get out of here. Gommel's up next, and I completely forgot. Shit, I was having so much fun with my World War II country
cool.
analogies.
We're on a roll, so I don't think Almo's very mad.
Those country analogies though, holy shit. I just want to. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get our propaganda team. I'm gonna give them a billion ISK and just tell them to do like the little, like a world map, and then put like the different alliances on the world map. My question is who would be Somalia? Who'd be the angry pirates in Somalia?
I mean, someone in Losec, clearly.
Maybe Volta? Like pouring out of wormholes, hunting supers and shit?
There's a lot you can do with this. You should think about it for a while.
Yeah, I'm going to put some effort into this. By next week, I'm going to have this. This is going to be so good. This guy, Smalls95, tell me your name. Type it in chat. Tell me your in-game name so I can send you ISK. But yeah, seriously, both of you, thank you for coming. And of course,
there's actually
Asher.
3 of us.
Well, I meant there's 2 CSM, and then I was going to say Asher, but...
those are like the important people first, then me.
No, because you filled in for Matani today because he's not here. It seems like you do that quite often. So his name is Slate Cora, so I will make sure he gets plex.
Matani, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You mean fill in Matani?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be clear about that. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by the Meta Show today, everyone, and thank our guests and our subscribers, donators, followers. I will see you guys on the boat show on Monday, and then we'll see you on the Meta Show next week. And don't forget to stop by on the CCP stream as you watch Gommel and I make fools of ourselves on a CSM stream or CCP stream, whatever you want to call it. See ya.
Bye, both of you.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.